New project. I want to paint my mini hoe. Not the boom, but this part that I bent all up. I want to get the bends out. I want to straighten some things up. This is all mangled up. And I want to put some fresh paint on it. I'm not going to paint the boom just because it's going to be too much of an ordeal to get all the grease off. And it's got no dents and no rust. But I'm going to paint this part. And I'm probably not going to go back with a factory color. And I'm thinking it's going to be less likely to get stolen or easier to track if it's some kind of weird color. So I don't know what color it's going to be, but it's not going to be Hitachi orange. So this is obviously going to be the easiest one. Doesn't have any dents in it. It's small. Came off easily. I'm going to take all the hardware off. I'm going to take the rubber strip off. I'm not going to take this off. I'm not going to take this foam off because I won't be able to get it back. But if I can take it off, I'm going to take it off. Okay, I was able to get the Hitachi sticker off with the razor blade and just pulling on it, but it left the goopy, the sticky. And acetone would get it off a little bit if you really scrubbed, and I have this adhesive remover, and it didn't seem to do too much, so I'm gonna have to do some research on the best way to get sticky stuff off. And I just started on this one, and I think it's gonna come off without any problems. And then I got those are from the factory. They may be a little harder, I don't know. This one's coming off okay.
So I took a few before pictures, mainly to remember which way the hardware went back on and which surfaces gets that rubber gasket, because once they were all pulled off in a pile, they all looked kind of the same.
Okay, 5 panels are all on the bench. This one has no dents. The sticker pulled the paint off. This one has no dents. I still got gooey from the stickers. This one is dented badly, but it's a simple shape. I don't think I'll have too much trouble with it. This one's got minor dents here and sunken in right there. And this one's mangled up pretty good. Probably have to pull the foam off the back of this one. So, order of work, get all the stickers off, wash both sides with soap and water because they got a lot of mud on the back. And then start beating and banging. And try not to use too much Bondo, but I'm sure I'll use a bunch. And my machine looks naked. It's perfectly operable, right? Just like this. Would not be a problem. Except all the hoses and stuff are not protected. Yeah, and the nice thing, everything, there's no leaks that I can tell, but this right here, this filter might be dripping a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna get the hose and kind of hose it off real good. Let's see. Yeah, this can latch down because the latch is still on there. Let's see. Yep. All right, I'm gonna hose it. So all the stickers came off, not necessarily the glue, but the stickers without too much trouble. But this one was a lot of trouble. It would not come off. It was black ink on a clear sticker, so there was clear plastic around the perimeter, and it just wouldn't come off. So I got 80 grit paper on the random orbital, and I probably got to sand all this paint off anyway. So I'm just sanding it and clogging up paper with the glue, but I got to get it off. Okay, I got to get this pad off, and probably I'm going to destroy it. So I'm taking some video so I can replace it with something. This is a little bit disturbing because that looks like a mouse. And if a mouse can chew on foam, if he's that stupid, they could chew on wires, and that could cause issues. I'm gonna have to address that. Maybe put some poison in the machine or something. Anyway, I got to get this pad off so I can do this hammering and beating. And I'm trying to save it because it's in an okay shape if I can keep from ripping it up. I got my pads off that had to come off. Pretty mangled. I'm not going to put it back, but it's good enough for a pattern for when I do get some new stuff. So I might get the pressure washer out in a little bit and see if I can't wash this fuzz off, and maybe even the decals glue, maybe. Well, I just did my first little bit of Bondo, and what did I learn? Well, I mixed way too much. And I didn't film it because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll film the next one. And I do know, see that dark spot right there? That's the steel, the metal. So I might not have knocked that in enough. So when I go to sand, it may be proud. Anyway, we're learning. We're learning as we go. This is my second panel I want to work on, and it is pretty caved in. But it's a flat surface, so it shouldn't be too hard. Now it bent so much that this steel cracked. And I may fix that from the inside with epoxy and some epoxy cloth. Or I may bring it to the shop and try to braze it. It's pretty thin. And this side's caved in, so let's get to beating and see what we can do.
This is definitely not an instructional video because I don't know what I'm doing. This is just documenting me messing around.
A lot better. What's the best way to bend this thing? Maybe with a wrench, maybe? Let's get a crescent wrench. Okay, so this is flat, but it needs to be curved. So I need to beat it. This is coming back together. Go put it on the machine. See what it looks like. This is still bad. This is still bad. It looks like this whole top needs to go in so it can get under this rubber thing. And this needs to be worked on. It's not terrible. There's a dent right there. Alright, I'm gonna go bang on it some more. I've been a beating and a banging, and I got it where I think it's going to be okay. It's not perfect. And this little rubber, I'm assuming, is supposed to cover this corner, and it doesn't really, but this rubber covers. So that's better. I guess it's going to be all right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to patch the inside of that brake with fiberglass and epoxy and grind it and make sure it still fits before I do any Bondo. And I'm going to put a little epoxy on the inside of this because there's a crack there. Okay, let's mix up some fiberglass. Okay, so I got 5 layers of glass on that bad crack. I got 3 layers of glass on this crack that was almost not a crack, just a little bitty crack. So that's epoxy, so this is done for the day. The Bondo I put on first, it's ready to sand, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the 3rd panel and get started on it, the bad panel. Okay, this one is pretty mangled. Luckily, I think from here down is okay around these bolt divots. And I think most of those dents are in, so they need to be beat out. Well, this is like a compound curve. All right, we're gonna turn over, start making noise. Put my little, I think I'll put the camera on the tripod. Maybe I can get some video that's worth looking at. Here. Still a divot here, here, and here. Yeah. Look how divots everywhere. So I saw a guy on YouTube using the hammer. By the time he was finished, it almost didn't need Bondo. I'm not that guy. Okay, I think I want to start sanding, and I think that'll tell me where the bumps are better. All right, put some on here. Super happy with my first skim coat on the mangled side sheet metal. Still got some divots here, and this is still kind of low. It just went on real good. Okay, so now I'm gonna get the piece that I did first and sand it and see how it looks. All right, first sanding done. Not exactly sure where to go from here, but what I did was some of these I could feel a bump. I tapped them down with the ball peen hammer a little bit. This one. And I think I'm just going to keep skimming it until it's like sheetrock mud, until it gets a nice fair curve. I try to put a straight edge on it, but this thing's curved like both ways, so that's kind of hard. And this one just needs a little touch right in here. And I tap this down, so we'll put a little more right here. I'll mix up some more Bondo.
This sanding board, torture board, or whatever you want to call it, is a huge help in flattening surfaces out. The random orbital tends to just go in and out, and always sands the soft spots faster. So it's a problem getting a good flat surface. This thing will ride over the soft spots, and it'll be held up by the hard spots, and it helps a lot. Unfortunately, on the real bad panel, is curved, so I still use this thing, but it's not as effective as this little flat board right here. I guess because I don't have a skill set.
This stuff is such a mess, and it's been setting way too fast for me to deal with. So each time I mix some, I call myself putting less hardener in there, but apparently that wasn't the case. It just kept flashing, and I'd mess up what I was trying to do. So this is the last of it for this bucket, or this can. But however, this morning, it is so cool, so pleasant out there. Temperature is probably 15 degrees lower than it was yesterday. So that's got to be huge and giving me some working time. Now, instructions say 2% of the hardener. How in the world do you figure that? I don't know. Is that 2%? That's kind of what I've been doing. Let's see. And then you mix it up till you don't see any blue streaks. Much stiffer than it was yesterday too, I guess because of the temperature. I'm going to use my plastic thing in just a second. I wanted just to get the bulk of it mixed with this stick. Okay, let's go put this on. Okay, I need a little bit here. Ooh, it's so cold it doesn't really spread very well. Okay, we're going to call that sandable. And I need a lot on this side. Like, I think I can probably sand this out. This is low. This is low. This is kind of low. But what I really need to do is go this way. Okay, I don't think that's good enough to finish, but it'll be closer when that gets sanded out. Let's go over here. This roughness here is boogered up because the stuff was setting on me. So when I went over it, the bottom part peeled up. Actually, this would be easier if it was a little bit warmer than it is now. Alright, well that wasn't very exciting, but it'll bring me one step closer. Look at it, this is terrible. Yeah, see it's setting, and when I try to squeegee it, it wants to ball up. Anyway, we're one step closer to our goal of having fairly smooth, uniform surface for the paint. And I'm not going to put a glossy paint. I'm going to put a textured paint, bed liner. So that's going to give me a bunch of passes on some of these little bumps. Okay, I moved back inside. The sun is so bright outside, I couldn't see what I was doing. I'm almost was going to call this good, but I decided I'm going to do one more little skim coat. I got a little boo-boo there. I got a little dip right there. Right there is kind of rough. There and there. I think the Raptor bed liner I'm going to spray it with would hide all those anyway, but I just want to get it as good as I can. Now, if it was a car, it would look horrible because it's not really, it's not smooth. It goes up and down, but I think with the Raptor liner it's going to be fine. And this piece just needs another skim coat kind of everywhere. And this one is done. I'm happy with this one. And the other two, which are not dented, they just need to be scuffed up, sanded a little bit so the Raptor will stick. Yeah, I think a Raptor comes in 4 days. And hopefully the weather's good and we'll start covering these things up, put the tractor back together, and get it back out to the country where it belongs. Took me a little while to figure out a tool management system because this stuff's so messy. But I think I got a good system now. I use a stick to dip the material out of the can and to mix it really well with the hardener. And then I leave the stick alone because this will get hard. And before I use it again, I'll just walk over to my big belt sander and it'll shave it clean in just a second or 2 seconds. And then I take the tool I'm using, my squeegee, and I clean it with just a steel trowel. Just scrape it off and put the junk on the cardboard, and I can get 90% of it off, and then with a little acetone and a rag I can get it clean so I can use it again. And then the cardboard always goes in the garbage. And luckily I just bought this backpack sprayer, and it came with that glossy cardboard. And I got enough cardboard to do 3 more batches, but I may have done the last batch, maybe. You let it get hard and sand it some more. This panel is perfect. Well, it's not perfect, but it's mine, so I can call it perfect. It's pretty damn good. It's got some waves in it, but I don't think it's going to show after I put the bed liner on it. This panel, I still need to sand it. It's getting really close. Oof, I've sanded enough, but I got to do this one. Well, I'm here at the foundry. I got my parts laid out, ready to spray. My Bondo work that looks so good in my shop looks horrible out here in the sun. I'm glad I'm using a bed liner and not regular old paint. Now I've wiped them down with wax and grease remover, and the temperature is a couple of degrees low. It's 65, although it's rising, but the wind's blowing, and the wind's only going to get worse as noon approaches. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna mix up 1 can. Oh, I got my air compressor set to 60 at the regulator, so it's probably, I don't know, 50 when I pull the trigger, because it's got a lot of hose to go through. So I'm gonna mix up a can, and we're gonna start. So this is pretty simple. You just open the can and you dump in the hardener, and in my case I got a color that came with it. You put the top on it and you shake for 2 full minutes, and I'll spare you that. I've mixed for 2 minutes or more, and this is the spray rig that comes with it. Pretty cheapy looking. Hopefully it'll last for 2 buckets. And here we go. Look here.
So we're going green. I kind of thought I ordered blue, but with my shaky fingers, every time I get a package in the mail, it's always a mystery because I don't know really what I ordered. But we're going green, and kind of like it.
Used up the first can. Definitely going to take 2 cans because I still got some thin spots. There's definitely an art to it, so you don't like put it on too thick or too thin. But my Bondo work looks a whole lot better now. I hope I can cover everything with the second can, but I need to wait 1 hour roughly before I spray it. Yeah, this is going to be super cool. So it's been almost an hour. I'm getting ready to mix my second batch. Now the temperature has come up a little bit and the product is a lot warmer because it's been sitting in the sun. And I turned the pressure down a little bit, trying to get a more even spray. It's going to be kind of touchy if I get all the orange covered with this last can, because this is all I got. Ow. Mix it up and spray it, see how it does. Okay, that was actually pretty easy. Wish I had done better on my first coat, but that's all right. So what I need to do now is go away, let it cure, and tomorrow I'll come get them and we'll put the tractor back together, or at least start on it. I got my mess cleaned up, everything's good to go. Okay, first panel is ready to go back on. I got this little plastic part bolted back on, and I got the original weather stripping snapped back into place. And it's ready to go. I could have cleaned that up a little bit, probably, but anyway, let's put it on and see what it looks like. First panel, it's in. Now this is the panel I had to beat on the most. It was the most kinked up. And it did affect the curve, because when I took it off, it just came right off. But to get the bolts back in, I had to kind of push on it pretty hard. So, but it went. It's good. It's all good. And the little top. Latches. So everything's good. On to the next one. And this is a door. This one's pretty heavy. It's got some grills and stuff in it, but we'll do this one next. Panel number 2. This is the heaviest panel. And this is actually a door. It's on hinges. I got these screens. They go on the backside because this is the covers the radiator. And I gotta try to get this tape off of this latching mechanism and get the key thing back in there. And then we'll go hang it. Okay, screens are on, lock set's on. And it did take me a couple of tries to get the lock set right. I forgot which way it went. But it's on. Let's go hang the door. And I believe this door has some adjustment to it. I think the holes are oversized, so this one probably be my biggest challenge as far as putting the panels back on. Okay, hinges on. The adjustment was easy because I could see where the washers used to be, so I just had to wiggle it and get it like that. And the little keeper's on, and it shuts. All right, next hatch. This one shouldn't be hard either. Now, I haven't shown putting on the gaskets, but they're all just friction fit. They just snap on. And you see the orange paint where I didn't get good coverage there? Man, I looked and looked and looked from all kind of different angles on my hands and knees to make sure I didn't have any orange paint showing. And I got orange paint showing. Oh well. First world problems, huh? As my daughter would say. First world problems. Okay, that's panel number 3. And it works. And they got the little lock on here that's kind of hard to do one hand. There we go. All right, panel 4 is going to have to be skipped because it goes over panel 5. So let's do panel 5. And on this one, the gasket's really screwed up. I'd kind of almost like to order a new gasket, but it really doesn't matter. 4th panel on, and actually the gasket that was so mangled up is covered by this rubber flap. So we're okay. And in front, you know, it's a little boogered up, but I know right where this thing's going when we bring it to the country. It's going right big in the dirt, so it's okay. One more panel to go. So why did I do this? It took a long time. The paint cost almost 200 bucks. Well, when I bought this tractor, it didn't have a dent in it, so I just felt bad about all the dents, for one. And 2, when you have a piece of equipment or something, or a tool, and it's all beat up, it tends to get beat up exponentially. You tend to not respect it, and yeah, they go down quick, spiraling down in quality. And 3, a lot of the spots where the paint was dented, a lot of the areas where the sheet metal was dented, the paint was cracked, and I don't want this thing to rust. These little Tracos live their life in the weather for the most part. Not many people have a situation where you can put them in a garage. You know, all the ones that work, all the commercial applications, they just live in the road. So I didn't want to rust. And then for theft deterrence, I don't know, maybe. It's very different. So if some professionals were gonna steal it, it's not gonna make any difference. They're gonna they're gonna take the thing to Mexico in 24 hours. They're gonna throw these panels in the ditch. If a local crackhead were to take it, I think it might help me get it back because it's distinctive. Anyway, I have a new appreciation for body guys and the talent they have to make sheet metal flat after it's been bent. If it wouldn't have been for this Raptor stuff, this bed liner material, my paint job would have looked horrible. So that's a wrap. Thanks for watching.